back to June when this whole thing started and how much progress we had to make. And now, as we sit here and getting ready for a eventful December, there's a lot of things that I really like about our group. We know we got a huge test ahead here in Texas, a great opportunity for our young team, particularly on the road. And then we know we also start ACC season soon. So it's been a good start, and looking forward to all that lies ahead. Happy to answer any and all questions.
Courtney, what did playing South Carolina UCLA do to help you prepare for the league?
You said, what is South Carolina? Is that what you said?
What did playing South Carolina and
Yeah.
UCLA do to help you prepare to play
Yeah.
on the
I think scrimmaging Tennessee, and then going to play South Carolina, and then playing. Like you see, probably saw on social media, 8 of our opponents were amidst an 8-game stretch where we've played conference champions from a year ago. It was all by design, an opportunity to really figure out where our holes were and where we had to grow, and what the standard was. And I think, South Carolina's been setting the standard for a long time. And so for us to be able to kind of see that from the beginning and kind of make athleticism more of an equal was great. So I've learned a lot every game. I mean, the teams we played in Cancun were excellent. I mean, they all advanced in the NCAA tournament last year. I mean, we've had a very tough schedule. Playing at A&T was a challenge. And so I really liked the schedule. I think it was what was designed to do, and it's always good when it works out like that.
what are specific challenges in Texas will give you with all the balance, with Booker, with Jordan, with all,
Yeah. Well, the
what is
starts with the fact that it's on the road. I mean, the Moody Center is going to be full, and deservedly so. Their team's a very good team. Another thing is their pressure. I mean, they're willing to pressure you at all spots. They make every entry difficult on all parts of the floor. They have really good players, and so it's not like you can kind of ignore one or two, and you've got to have to guard really solid players. I think we're really different. They've made 36 threes and so far in 9 games, and we've made 82. I mean, we're just really different teams. They also have a 5th-year point guard, which really helps. We're obviously quite young. So there's a lot of challenges to playing a top 5 team on the road. But you don't get where you want to go without challenging yourself, and especially figuring out how good we want to be when time comes. So we feel grateful for the opportunity.
Hey, Courtney. I'm curious when you watch a team do what Texas did in Vegas with back-to-back UCLA, and what is that what kind of impression does that leave on you as a coach in terms of you're following the national landscape and to see a team come up big in both marquee kind of games like that? I mean, what does that tell you about a team, not just about the talent?
Yeah, they're experienced, they're prepared. They showed up when they needed to. I mean, a lot of things, right? But that they've been doing that. It was a Final Four team last year. So was South Carolina. So was UCLA, right? So we played 3 of them soon. And so, this is, we expected them to be good, and they were good. I mean, we felt like we gave, with the exception of like a 4-minute run late in the third quarter, we felt like we saw what UCLA was about too. So, um, Vic's done a great job with that group. He's got the right pieces around. Kind of each piece is really elite, but they connect together well. And they're a two-way team. They're one of the more elite defensive teams, but they can score the ball too.
Coach, I don't want to say you're better than people thought you would be, but a lot of people have kind of said we're focused on a lot of the losses and your youth. Are you better than you thought you'd be at this point in the season, or kind of what are some of your thoughts on your team vis-a-vis what you lost in your youth?
Yeah, it's a great question. We lost 70% of our offense and defense from a year ago in rebounding. And then, of course, Renaya was so severely limited and still working her way back. So about 90%. And if you had asked me in June, I would have said we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. I spent a lot of time in the summer really talking and living and sharing and showing on film and drilling just the standard, the competitive standard. I think what India's been able to do as a leader for our program, I think she's gotten outside of her comfort zone and really led this group. She's also gotten better. She's much better with the basketball. She did the whole spring was to dribble. We did a lot of dribbling exercises so that she's much better with the basketball. And then the experience, the talent. I mean, the Nyla Brooks and and Talia Henderson from that freshman class has just been, they've been even better than we thought early. I knew they'd be really good. I just didn't, they're making a huge impact early. Sierra made massive improvements in our season. So did Layla. Now we get to see them all year, so we know their improvement. But from where we were in June, I'm sorry, where we are now, we knew we were going to change our offense entirely, and that takes a rhythm. I'm pleased with how that rhythm has come, how much better we've gotten in that, and I'm really pleased with how much better defensively we've gotten since June. We play a lot harder. We're more accountable. We guard our own better. We're quicker into the gaps. We're paying attention to the scout, just so, yeah, we are better on both sides of the ball. I knew we'd be better offensively. I honestly didn't think we'd be able to defend as well this early.
Will it be important for you guys to make this more of a transition game, like half-court game? Seems like Texas would prefer.
Yeah, I mean, if you let them score, I mean, if you let them score, they're going to press you. So it's a double-edged sword, right? They get points on the scoreboard, and you're starting your offense 94 feet from the rim. That's a challenge. So that's the obvious math of it, but it's also the added challenge of the fatigue of that. And so when you get stops, you're able to play against an uncompromised defense for a bit, a compromised defense for a bit, and it's harder for them to get into their pressure. So clearly our growth defensively is going to have to be on display. We're going to have to be great on the glass. And then, be able to stretch them out with space over 94 feet and on the width of the court. We've got a lot of good, if we had played them last year, I think it would have been a really tough matchup because we had sort of one primary ball handler in Renaya. Now we have multiple primary ball handlers. And so, that should be an advantage, as it has been all year for us, that we have multiple decision makers on the floor at one time. And then the fact that we can stretch it, there's just more space, or like I said, I think the 3-point shot is a huge part of our offense. And, you got to play with space in order to allow that. Also, we finally have, Blanca will be fully cleared, and we haven't played a game with her yet, fully cleared. And so that's our lineup has gotten a little bit deeper, we think. And our group just keeps still a young group, seventh youngest in the country, but we're getting better.
Isa, Liza, and Jordan.
Yeah, everybody. Tisa's still out. The others are full go. I mean, we'll see. There's the stomach bugs and stuff going around, so we'll see who's playing on game day. But in terms of who's cleared.
Courtney, I got one for you that's
Yeah.
sort of a big picture about the ACC. And I might be a little, you might consider this to be a little, Debbie Downer kind of thing, but you guys are the highest ranked team in the ACC. Before this year, the ACC had at least one top 10 team in every poll going back to December of 2001. And now it's been 3 straight polls with nobody in the top 10. You guys are right outside at 11. You're sort of, I guess, the torchbearer, for lack of a better term, right now for the league in that regard. I'm kind of curious for all the success in the ACC has been in women's basketball for multiple years. Kind of, are you a little surprised to see the way things have started for the league this year?
Last year, for example, the Big Ten had 12 teams in, and we had more teams in the Sweet 16, right? So I'm kind of used to the story that, just like what, just obviously what Marissa asked, we've been underdogs all along. I mean, I feel like we're a better team than people think. I feel like our league's better. And you could say, well, there's a couple of results that don't show that. It's like, yeah, but the Duke Baylor game was really close. There's a lot of close contests. I think the USC NC State game was really close. I mean, and so I always say, let's see when it's all said and done, who's advanced, how many teams did you send each round, and what that looks like. Because as someone who has lived in the ACC now and these coaches and these players, like, we'll be just fine. The league will be just fine.
I am curious. One other thing, let's say things go well for the league this week in these matchups.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think that sort of matters in the long term? Because a lot of people talk about when you get to tournament resumes, and in this case, you're not just talking about who's getting bids, but what seed level line they're on. Especially if you were to win a game like this, obviously that's something you will carry on your resume all year as a strength. How much of an opportunity do you look at in that regard for you guys, but also for the league as a whole to say, we're just, like you said, we're going to be just fine, and this is an opportunity to prove it.
Yeah, we feel like resume, obviously beating Fairfield neutral, and all these by double figures, South Dakota neutral, Kansas State neutral, Columbia neutral. I mean, we felt like we keep talking about increasing our resume. And I think each team is doing that on their own campuses. You know, many years that I've been here, I think every year that I was here, we won the Big Ten Challenge, and they still got more teams in. So I just think there's more voters in the middle of the country than there are, so that are supporting those teams probably. You're kind of striking the chord that I think we've been better than people think anyway, and I still think we are. So we'll see how it all plays out when the tournament goes, and we see where now maybe because of some of these early like November games, are we going to keep certain ACC teams from hosting? Well, then you're going to have to win some road games, But again, I just think when it's all said and done, we'll be pleased with where the ACC has finished. You're on mute. If you want to type it, you can too, RL, because your service stinks.
Yeah, I'm on. Sorry. The elite is generally recognized as UConn, South Carolina, UCLA, Texas. What was a win for me for the program as far as joining that?
It just helps this year's resume, right? I just kind of what Marissa said. Like, I think people assumed that we weren't going to be better because of last year, what we lost. It's like every year in college basketball is a totally unique journey. And yes, there is voter bias that if you were good last year, there's an assumption you're going to be good again and all the things. But in a lot of ways, I think we've been, if we when we I hope when we win this game, it's another win for this particular team's resume. But we're just going to keep. I've been saying all along of this team, it's just day by day, just keep getting better. We're young enough that we're going to be really good. And sure enough, I think they're proving me right and moving in the right direction.
Any more questions for Coach? Great. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Courtney. Thanks, Madeline.